in there in the 3 spot. Texas wanted nothing to do with her in game 1. They walked her twice. She was hit by a pitch, so I think that's part of the game plan for Texas, right? You keep off the batter that has 15 home runs.
Brittany Jackson had a very good game 1. Couple of offensive plays defensively as well. Good as the center fielder leads it off. In the circle for Texas, 15th start of the season for Shea O'Leary, 92 on the year. 87 in the 3rd innings pitched for the sophomore.
I think for O'Leary getting the start in game 2, it's all about going right after these batters. And almost identical start to game 1, Tyler. Brittany Jackson getting that leadoff single. And then Omley coming up with that sac bunt. So a great job by Kansas. Again, just trying to make things happen from the get-go.
Yeah, it was the first inning that Kansas played their lone run of the contest. As the aforementioned Morgan Wynn will step in, junior from Pittsburgh, California. 345 hitter on the year, but you see the 15 big flies. One of the best in the country at hitting the long ball.
Good approach for Texas. Again, talking about just how good Morgan Wynn's been, not really wanting to go give her anything too good. O'Leary, though, going ahead and getting that first strike. What you're going to notice from O'Leary, she throws that down ball. She's got an excellent drop ball. She's going to top out 68, 70 miles per hour and an excellent change, as we just saw. You're going to see O'Leary utilize that pitch at any part of the count.
Popping up into right field. Whitaker trying to shield off the sun. That's a tough area here at McCombs Field to play at this time of day. And that ball dropping in for a base hit.
And unfortunately, that just can't happen. That's exactly what you want to have happen for O'Leary. You induce that fly ball. You see Whitaker put her hand up right away. She's got to have a visor on her, at least some shades. But being the home team, you definitely know, and yeah, here comes the shades. It's like if no one's bringing her a visor or sunglasses at this point, some teammates to help you out.
Will be credited as a double to Morgan Wynn for this Kansas team that now sports a record of 22-18, 2-8 in Big 12 play. That can be somewhat misleading. They've played Oklahoma, they've played Oklahoma State, the only team that has beaten Oklahoma State in conference play thus far. Kansas has 3 wins over top 25 teams. So this, Megan, is a very capable Kansas team.
Oh, absolutely. They're right there, right? I think it's all about what is the tipping point for this team. They've got 3 excellent starters in the circle. Their defense, as they showed us in game 1, impeccable. They've got the speed. And now it's taking back just a few pitches. I think that's what it is.
Ashlyn Anderson, the batter at the plate, trying to bring home the run. Texas there defensively, another runner in a pickle. So the out is at home, not the most important one. Ball will go back to O'Leary in the circle with runners on the corners.
Well, as in game 1, it was Kansas getting all the outs at home. This time, Texas perfectly executed. This is a squeeze. Bree Cantu gets the ball to J.J. Smith, gets the tag. I think the argument's going to say she tag was late, maybe down by the leg. The hand gets in. Either way, love the fact that J.J. Smith doesn't stay on it. She gets the ball to Janae Jefferson, and they're still in a 1st and 3rd as opposed to just giving up second base.
Yeah, Megan, that was very close at home. I thought potentially could have had a case that Jackson was in safely, but 1st and 3rd, 2 down. Madison Hirsch, one more look at the play at the plate.
It looks like she does indeed get that tag before her hand crosses the plate. It's about as close as it gets, Tyler. I love that we get to zoom in on that.
Keep an eye over at 3rd base. Bree Cantu getting the start. Alyssa Washington started game number 1. Saw her fielding a ball on the infield, maybe catching the cleat, went off with a little bit of a limp. But that has been a position of concern for Texas over the course of the season, still trying to figure out defensively what lineup works best. So already a couple balls that have gone Cantu's way and a couple of nice plays made by her.
And that has been the name of the game for Texas all season long. Even when talking with Coach White earlier in the week, you know, he was talking about Mackenzie Parker, and she had a rough go at it in Norman. So they put her out in the right field. He goes, and would you imagine where the first pitch went when we put her out in the right field? Of course, they hit it right to right field, right to her. And it's just crazy, you know, the game always kind of tests you that way. It always finds the new player on the field. I promise you that. So be ready. Moral of the story.
We got a lot of fly balls up here in game one. We need to be ready as well. And I'll have you next to me to flex your catching prowess.
Get your gloves out. Gloves. You can't have two of them.
Well, batting gloves.
Sure. It's not going to help you catch it.
3-2. So Leary getting the nod. In game one, it was Molly Jacobson that threw 48 pitches, went 2 1/3. Then Riley White came in. White got the win. I'm interested to see what Texas's plan is for pitching. As you had just said, the ball finding Cantu once again. So the third baseman for Texas, Bree Cantu, makes 3 plays. Texas will bat when we come back. Mike White in his 3rd season as well at the helm of Texas reached the Super Regional in 2019, first Super Regional for the Longhorns since 2013. As we take a look at the hitting lineup for team on the year, 33-6, 7-3 in Big 12 play, currently 3rd. And the big news was for Janae Jefferson earlier this week, USA Softball Player of the Year, top 25 finalist. Just yet another accolade for the junior for Texas.
Yeah, already a 2-time All-American, making her run at getting that 3rd All-American award. I feel like she's been just putting out astounding numbers, and the fact that she just gets better every year.
Haley Reed, the pitcher in the circle for Kansas, senior with a 4.27 ERA. 11th game started. 7 wins to 3 losses. Teams hitting .286, 29 strikeouts to 19 walks for Reed.
You know, I mentioned earlier just about this Kansas Jayhawks pitching staff. They've got 3 starters with 3 huge wins under their belt. Reed coming up with the win against Mizzou, got the win 4-3. Did Casey Hamilton that got that win against Wichita State earlier in the week, and then Tatum Goff beating OSU, which you talked about. And I think this is just a case that this is a team that is truly coming into its stride. It sounds like they're trying to argue catcher's interference here on the swing. It sounded like there's a couple different, I'm not sure if it's just a foul ball into the catcher or catcher's glove first.
Dustin Douglas, home plate umpire. Danny Bowman at first. Keith Kearney at 3rd, our crew for the day.
Going to be your best angle here. And it did sound like, but then it's also, I don't know if they also hear the bat also hits the catcher's helmet as well. Not a good day for the catcher. Jordan Richards. Always getting beat up back there, catchers are.
It's definitely not a glamour position, right?
No, though I tried to make it.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's such a contrast for you. Taking a look there one more time, just looking for that. Is there any contact?
Man, I don't think so. I think it was the noise of the bat hitting the catcher's helmet then. Good call.
467 average on the year for Jefferson, 13th amongst all D1 players. That a hot shot to second. Megan, you had touched on it. Hornbuckle over there at second. This Kansas team defensively has been very impressive today.
They sure have. Earlier in the day, they had 2 double plays, both of them at home as well. I love the fact that you saw Haley Harper, who's new to this infield. She took over at shortstop because of the injury to Sydney Ramsey last weekend at Texas Tech. But anyway, she goes to her backhand. I feel like she's sliding down, getting that lead runner, and this defense, again, looking sharp. And this is what Coach McFall is talking about. She knows the team's right there. So, again, right now in their future, their first goal, getting to the Big 12 tournament. You just need to be in the top 6. Right now, they're 5th in Big 12. And after that, they're looking to get postseason play. And she knows that the future's in their hands. You know, with this series going down to Waco next week, and then they finish with Iowa State, hoping to come away with a couple series wins to put themselves in position to make postseason.
Shannon Rhodes, the batter at the plate. You saw the bunt that trickled foul. It was Rhodes that had a 2-run home run in game number 1. Showed you that in the open. Texas looking to get back on track in terms of Big 12 play after those 3-run rule losses in Norman. They play a midweek matchup against Texas State, win 5-4. We chronicled the struggles for Texas with runners in scoring position, stringing hits together. Game 1 of the day was a little disjointed, but we saw moments of that where Texas got back to what their identity, at least thus far this season, has been, and that's scoring a lot of runs. Rhodes in foul territory, ranging over to make the catch. Beautiful play by Omley. The defense continues, bobbled it, but secured it for the out.
Yeah, that was a long run, and she ran into the fence, and I love the fact that she was able to hold on to it. Ball skyrocketed, and again, Texas with the warning track, but it's turf, so you're not really feeling it with your feet. Fence almost knocks it out. Nice snag there.
Nice catch by Macy Omley, junior left fielder.
But as you're mentioning Texas with their offense, I think you go back to the midweek game versus Texas State, they were able to put up the 10 runs, but they still left runners on. They were only 1 for 12 with runners in scoring position. They did it with the long ball in that game. I feel like what we noticed in the first game versus Kansas is they were finally able to get some timely hitting. They got their runners on with the likes of J.J. Smith coming up with 2 runners on. She gets the 2 RBI triple. Lauren Burke came up with a couple RBIs as well with a single. And yeah, you had the Shannon Rhodes home run, but this is what Texas is starting to get back to. And I think that's also why we saw Coach White go with the sacrifice bunt. We saw him even try to sacrifice bunt Mary Iacopo.
Colleen Sullivan, been a tough day for her at the plate just in terms of catching balls. She had one hit her elbow in the first game, but hit by another pitch, and player you just mentioned, Mary Iacopo. Junior from Carson, California, who started her career at the University of Oregon. .411 her average on the year. 39 hits, the 3rd most on the team. 12 home runs, 4 doubles.
We'll see Haley Reed working the inside part of the plate to Iacopo. Have to imagine a lot of that has to do with the fact you have the runner on looking for a ground ball to the left side. Working that backdoor curve.
Out to left, that'll drop in. Iacopo with a single.
And a 3-0 single at that, Tyler. This team loves swinging 3-0. If there's a scouting report on them, that should definitely be on there. So if you're a pitcher, you are not wanting to leave something over the heart of the plate, because they definitely have the green light. And that one, not even a good strike. I think you go back and look at that. If you're Haley Reed, you're like, okay, that probably would have been ball 4 either way.
Lauren Burke now will be the hitter for Texas.
That changeup from Reed. Great time to throw it, first pitch.
Junior from Eugene, Oregon, .317 hitter on the year. 22 runs batted in across her 32 hits. 2 doubles, 2 triples, 3 home runs.
lead, and Richards working hard on that outside part of the plate, inside to righties. I like it. It's that backdoor curve. Just must be an inch or two off the plate. The height is nice. Hats off to Texas for not biting.
Yeah, different catcher. Jordan Richards did not play game one. It was Shelby Gayer. 2-1 pitch. Playing 2 today as inclement weather yesterday moved the series opener over. It was nasty early in the morning into the afternoon, cleared up in the evening, but the uncertainty there changed this to a doubleheader. One more will be played tomorrow. There's another grab by Omley out in left for out number 3. Texas gets a couple on, but nothing doing. 0-0 ball game here in Austin. A big night for Texas volleyball. They will take on the overall 2 seed in the tournament for a national championship. After us, we'll get you to Texas Game Day that will take you into that match tonight, 7 Central on ESPN2. Paul Sunderland, Salima Rockwell will be out there in Omaha along with Holly Rowe for Texas. It would be their 3rd national title, won in '88, 2012 for Jarrett Elliott and company. For Kentucky, it would be their first ever and the first SEC team to win the national championship. Megan, I know you're plugged into what's going on here on the 40 acres. Always exciting when any of the teams compete for some hardware.
For sure. I love watching this Texas volleyball team. I've always enjoyed watching our Texas volleyball team, have a few friends. The original Lady in Black, Allison Jennings, and I went to school together, so ever since then have been following them, and what Jarrett Elliott's been able to do with his program is just absolutely incredible.
Yeah, such a good program staff. Tanya Johnson, Eric Sullivan, the associate head coaches. They have a phenomenal team this season, obviously playing for a national title. So stick around for Texas Game Day and then head over to ESPN2 for what should be a very good match. Texas coming off an impressive 3-0 sweep against the overall 1 seed Wisconsin.
That's what I was going to say. Thursday night, I'm flipping through and I'm watching, like, all right, I'm ready to go. I already missed the first match, but I was like, whoa, they're cruising, and you're afraid to say that. You're like, can they sweep it in 3? And sure enough, they did.
It was after some impressive victories, beating Penn State, beating Nebraska. It's been a long season for the Texas volleyball team. They started off all the way back in the fall. It was announced that national championship would be contested in the spring. The other power conferences jumping in outside of the SEC and the Big 12, 2 teams that played a fall slate. So the champions of both of those conferences meeting tonight. 1-2 pitch from O'Leary to Hornbuckle. Be nice to see the tower lit up orange tonight.
No kidding. Always a good sight here in Austin.
2-2. It's blooped over to Sullivan at first, 1 up, 1 down.
97 and playing right field, number 7, Karen Travieso.
I actually have had, this is a little bit of trivia. I have a cousin who played at UCLA, college volleyball, and then I also had another cousin that played at Penn State men's volleyball. So it runs in the family here. I watch it. Now, I definitely didn't get that gene. They're tall. They're 6 foot, 6'1".
Well, not
He's
everybody.
6'7".
You need DSs and Libros as well.
Yeah, true.
Tertavicio, the batter at the plate for Kansas. So best of luck to the Texas volleyball team this evening. 7 o'clock, ESPN2 against Kentucky. Way out in front of the 1-1. There's the strikeout pitch, 2 down.
You see that 70 miles an hour right now. Shea O'Leary feeling good. This is a great pitch right on the outside part of the plate. She looks like now she's going with the backdoor curve herself. Beautiful pitch.
Jordan Richards, catcher, cuts at the first pitch. 3 up, 3 down for O'Leary and the Texas defense. 0-0 ball game here in Austin.
Longhorn Network Softball is brought to you by American Campus Communities, where students love living.
Gorgeous day here in Austin, Megan. It's starting to feel a little bit like summer, 82 degrees on the temp. I don't know if I'd be brave enough, though, to get out and paddleboard quite yet. That water pretty cold.
I would be. I'm out there. Well, don't fall in. It's that easy. Stay on the board, Tyler. It feels like softball season. It just feels right? You walked out here today, low 70s. I feel like there's even a different smell in the air. It was a good day for 2, for sure.
Mackenzie Parker.
Tailgaters.
Yeah, it felt, there was great energy the spring game earlier. So obviously a lot of people coming up this way to head across 35 and go check out first glimpse at Steve Sarkisian and the Texas football team. A lot of interesting storylines that taking place just across the way.
I'll tell you what, I'm excited to get in that stadium. That new south end zone looks real good.
I've seen some pretty cool shots of the Longhorn logo.
My seats are in the north side, so I'm gonna look at that all season long. Can't wait. I'm ready to be back. I went to one game this past year. Obviously wasn't the same. But I kind of liked it because there was no one around me too, so you kind of got to spread out.
It's definitely going to be something to go back into a crowd of 100,000 plus over at DKR.
I'm ready.
2-2. Obviously construction as well on the Moody Center, right there.
That'll be cool. That'll be awesome. I can't wait to see that one finish out as well.
A lot of action here at the University of Texas at Austin. 3-2 pitch. What'd you say earlier to me, Megan? All gas,
no brakes. Let's go.
Spend enough time around Texas athletics. You'll hear that quite a bit these days. 7th pitch of the at-bat coming.
Oh, that's a nice pitch right there. Good take by Mackenzie Parker. That curveball in, it just continued to keep tailing, and I feel like Kaylee Reed just trying to figure out the strike zone back there. So close. I mean, she's just missing by a little, and I just don't know how, if you're Mackenzie Parker, how do you don't pull the trigger? That's why she's batting down there, and I'm sitting up here.
So Parker on via the walk. Jordan Whitaker, freshman from Jacksonville, Texas. Looks at strike one, 373 the average on the year. You talk all gas, no brakes for this Texas softball team. 33-6 on the season. Offense has been what has powered them. Runs scoring, home run hitting, big bats in the lineup.
Yeah, they're number 3 in the nation with that batting average coming into the weekend. Last weekend against OU, they're number 2. Unfortunately, they came up against the number 1 team in the nation, so everyone's batting averages dipped just a little bit, but still, number 3 in the nation. They are really finding ways to put up some gaudy numbers themselves.
They hit 370 as a team, 3rd, as you mentioned, 627 slugging, which is 3rd, 1.65 home runs per game. That's 8th in the country. They average 7.35 runs per game, 9th amongst all D1 teams, and Coach White had told us that was really what was most surprising. Oklahoma, they lose 11-1, 10-2, and 9-0, and you know that Oklahoma's going to score runs. I think that that's just a given, but I think Coach White, what he was most surprised by was his offense's lack of.
Yeah, Yeah, and Oklahoma has great pitching, right? As a staff, 1.63 ERA, which is 9th in the nation. But again, Texas had runners on. They had bases loaded 8 times, Tyler, and they weren't able to capitalize. So that's exactly where that comment comes from, because he knows what his squad's capable of doing.
Good to see Whitaker back out there. Had caught a ball off the kneecap. One of her bats in game number 1. 0-2 pitch, fouls back.
Man, I love the way that Haley Reed is attacking this inside part of the plate, especially to these righties. She's throwing that backdoor curve, even ahead 0-2, which is so risky, right? Because you miss just a little bit over the plate, especially with these hitters, they're going to make you pay. But so much control and doing a great job getting it right in the river, trying to get in on the hands of these batters.
3 home runs on the year for Whitaker. So that was the 7th pitch of the at-bat, so another long at-bat. Another one back over our heads. Six foul balls in this at-bat. Let's go reload on softballs. Reed and Whitaker ready. 1-2 the count. Off speed. Another foul ball.
Good idea going with that off speed, just hammering that inside part of the plate, hoping to maybe get Whitaker off balance. But as you saw her, she kind of reloaded, trying to keep her weight back as best as she can.
Pitch of the at-bat.
And just pretty much wasting any pitch that's inside and close right now, doing so good. In that last game, we saw her chase that one away, but when she's locked in, she does not even budge until there's one she knows she can hit. Man, she packs a punch.
What a take.
Yeah. That's tough if you're a Reed right there. That's a good looking pitch, maybe a little up in the zone, trying to go with that backdoor again.
This easily the longest at bat we have seen on the day. 13th pitch, 3-2. And it will go at least one more.
I mean, in these foul balls going down the line, they're all clearing that 200-foot fence. We saw earlier in this season, Jordan Whitaker with bases loaded, kind of half-heartedly swing, it felt like. Just a half swing put one over the center field wall. So much power. What an at-bat.
Wow. So 14 pitches. Started off, I believe, with 2 foul balls. She was in an 0-2 hole. Earns the walk. That's a well-earned walk.
I'd say so. And I just, as you're watching these athletes throughout the season, Whitaker hasn't had a ton of opportunity either, Tyler. So it's really, I think, impressive to watch her make the adjustments each at bat, knowing it's no guarantee she's going to get the start tomorrow either, right? And so I like watching, especially these freshmen come in here, and you're just watching them get stronger and stronger, learning as they go. It's pretty impressive.
Fellow freshman Bailey Williams will come on to pinch run for Whitaker. So 2 runners on in Parker and Williams for another freshman, J.J. Smith. Smith hitting .444 on the year, 16 hits, 6 doubles, 2 home runs, 12 runs batted in. Had a very nice triple, her first of the season, game number 1 earlier today.
For JJ Smith, you're going to see, normally we know she's got the power, but watching these corners, they're going to start creeping in. She showed bunt the first time in game 1 as well. Coach White tried bunting her. She wasn't able to get that sack down, and you know that's something Coach White wants to make sure that every player in his lineup can do. So right now, they're just playing for that 1 run. That's unfortunate. That's the second time in 2 games that, you know, Smith just not able to commit fully to that sacrifice bunt. It worked out for her last time, though. That's when she got her triple on the 2 strikes. But again, this is the stuff Coach White is constantly testing his batters with. He has no problem giving the bunt. We've seen him do it with his number 4 batter.
1-2 outside.
But this goes back to him, again, playing for that 1 run. And what we've kind of been harping on is just making sure Texas can manufacture runs when they need it. They're not just relying on the long ball.
Already 2 walks to start the inning from Reed to Texas hitters. Over 25 pitches that she has thrown in this inning. Yet to record an out. Is that fought off by Smith? Seventh pitch of this at-bat to come. So a trio of walks to start off the second for Texas will load the bases.
Truly, for Haley Reed, I don't feel like this is a true showing of what she's capable of, right? I feel like she is just missing on some of the goes. I go back to that Mackenzie Parker one, and I mean, we're talking a few inches, maybe, that curveball, and for some reason, maybe it's not breaking late enough. Texas able to lay off of it, and they're just not biting at those pitches. But they look good. Feel like they're right on the corner there.
Yeah, it's not as if she has no command and the ball's going all over the zone. I mean, she's right there, obviously controlling the pitches, just being careful with the Texas hitters. So Texas, an opportunity here in the bottom of the second to capitalize. Parker, Whitaker, Smith all walk, and Bree Cantu hitting out of the 9-hole, the freshman, 333. 500 on the year with the bases loaded. 556 with runners in scoring position. Texas has a team 326. That dropped, it was 333 earlier today. So the 4 games prior to game 1 today, 3 for 18. Runners in scoring position, 5 for 11 though in game number 1. Texas loves something here. Cantu fouls it off.
And why not have it happen in the bottom half of the lineup, huh? I feel like we saw on Wednesday, bottom half come up huge, clutch. The last game, they were the ones that stepped up again. It was JJ Smith that got the first 2 runs on the board with that triple.
Texas has 2 grand slams on the season. Shannon Rhodes and, you know the other one, Megan? Let's see.
Yeah, Jordan Whitaker.
There you go. I'm gonna have to get more difficult with my question asking.
Well, I was talking about that earlier just because it was a half swing too, Tyler. I mean, it was just, You know, we see a few batters out here and that just, they're jaw-dropping, right? The amount of power that comes off their bat. I think you've seen a few from Shannon Rhodes this year. You know, you go back to a Tally Thrasher type day and some of the balls that would come off her bat, but Jordan Whitaker, so much power.
3-2, bases loaded. This ball is in play. In the infield, Harper makes the catch for out number 1.
That's a big out right there for Haley Reed, and a great job to continue to trust her stuff. Again, we're talking about it. She's not missing by much. It's not that she doesn't have control. It has everything to do with Texas just fouling off a ton of pitches and then not chasing. I mean, chasing pitches just a few inches off. So hats off to her getting that first one. That's got to feel good.
So back to the top of the lineup in order for Texas with Jefferson. Jefferson has got in on the home run action, 5 on the season. There's 5 home runs coming across the 65 at-bats.
Coach Singleton said before season, Janae Jefferson's going yard. I'm like, yeah, okay. You guys are going to have to force her not to bunt, right? And all of a sudden this year she's got 5. She's always had the power. I've seen it in practice. But man, just such good hand-eye coordination, usually not opening up that swing. So you love to see that this year and continue to keep her incredibly high batting average at the same time.
Yeah, just a cool 467 coming into this game. As Jefferson on pace to leave the University of Texas with the all-time batting average career lead, and that's a big reason why. Drops a base hit in to plate the first runs of the ball game. Janae Jefferson delivering once again.
This is huge by Janae Jefferson, especially knowing last game only getting 1 hit, and we're probably tough on her because she is usually hovering around 500, but you've got the runners on, this ball inside, and someone who usually keeps it to the left side because of those hands, she decides to turn on it, and what a good time to do so. Brittany Jackson shading the left side at center field. Just a great piece of hitting right there, Tyler.
As picked by USA Softball, one of the top 25 players in the country, and I think you'd be hard-pressed to find a player more consistent at the plate. Going for second, that ball bounces out into center field. Will allow Smith to come in and Jefferson to take third. Another run on the board for Texas.
After we've been talking about how good Kansas's defense has been, unfortunately, a little caught off guard on this first and third. This ball's gonna go all the way through. And I just don't think that your shortstop, Haley Harper, was anticipating. She's about a step behind second baseman. Hornbuckle maybe was supposed to come across and cut it. That ball gets in the outfield, and again, with Jefferson's speeds, able to take over third, too.
So Jefferson gets the stolen base, the error on the catcher, Richards. Throwing wise.
That's tough. My catcher's back. That was a perfect throw.
I'll agree with you there. Shannon Rhodes tied for 10th in D1 softball with 15 home runs. One of those coming earlier, on pace to break the single season program record. That not a home run, but a nice base hit to bring home teammate Jefferson as Rhodes digs for second and slides in safe. Texas with 4 on the board.
That's just Shannon Rhodes showing off again the power that she's had. We've watched her just drive it right down third base line. That's a changeup. She does a nice job keeping her weight back, keeping her hands back, just barreling it up. And then showing off her speed. That's not just a single for Shannon Rhodes, that's a double.
5th double of the season for Shannon Rhodes. What a season she is having at the plate. This looks like she's hitting a beach ball. Texas with 4 on the board, just 1 out here in the second inning.
Coming into the circle now.
So we'll have a new pitcher in the circle. Tatum Goff, sophomore from Rusk, Texas. 66 and a third innings thrown, 7-3 the win-loss, 3.59 ERA for Goff.
For Goff, she's going to have to utilize is that off speed, and she's got a great one. She'll top out around 65, so a little bit harder than what we saw out of Reed. But honestly, when I think about Reed, it's a tough outing for her because, I mean, it could have been just a different umpire back there. Some of those pitches are called strikes. They're so close, right? But you can't let, and I don't think she did by any means. I'm just saying it didn't feel like she was wild, even though you're looking at those walks and those columns. It was just a Texas team that was just battling and fouling so many pitches off. Sullivan hit for the third time in this series. Definitely not how you're going to want to start if you're Goff. This right now, this is a Texas team that is starting to rally a little bit. They're not just relying on that long ball. They're getting the timely hitting, and right away you come in here and you put that first batter on.
"50 times on the season, Texas has scored 3 or more runs as Mary Iakopo sends a dribbler down to third. Anderson with a long throw, but a nice one to get Iakopo. But Megan, to your point, I go back to that bat for Jordan Whitaker that feels like it was a whole ball game prior, but it was a 14-pitch at bat that at any point really could have gone the way of Reed. So just how close this inning has been. But Texas is capitalized. They have runners third and second with 2 down for Lauren Burke. All 9 have gone to the plate here in this inning.
I'll tell you what, that's a huge out for Goff to get Iakopo swinging at that first pitch. Just miss swinging too. That's a good looking pitch, has a nice late break to it. But only taking about 10, 12 miles an hour off of it. Getting a little drop action too.
Burke lined out to left. This one on the ground to second. Hornbuckle makes the throw for out number 3. Texas plates 4 in the second. 9-1-2 due up for the Jayhawks. So Texas, 3 hits, but 4 runs. They had 3 walks to start that inning off and were able to capitalize. Janae Jefferson with the 2 RBI single. The RBI from Shannon Rhodes on the double. It's 4-0 we stand here at Red and Charlene McCombs Field. Beautiful day. It's been holding steady at 80 degrees. Tyler Denning, Megan Willis, game number 2. This doubleheader, Texas took the series opener 8-1. Notching their 7th win in Big 12 play. Longhorns 3rd in the conference. Cantu coming in, long throw, but the runner is safe. Legging it out was the 9-hole hitter in Harper.
Risky move there, going with the bare hand, but all she could have done. I like it. Unfortunately, the speed, though, of Harper, just not able to get her out at first.
Great look. It's clearly safe. So top of the order, Brittany Jackson. Harper took a peek. 4 of 6 in stolen bases over there at first.
Okay, you're gonna see here, Texas is gonna be in a shift. Janae Jefferson nearly at second base. First base back, Colleen Sullivan means.
Right at short. Parker able to make the catch, cannot double off Harper. A good defense by Kinsey Parker.
It's a great job. This is a hot shot there. And even like with a bigger lead there, Sullivan playing back. I mean, in that extra step. Nearly as close as the single. by Harper.
It's over the head of Parker into left field. Lauren Burke will make the grab. The throw in. She collects the ball.
First baseman, Morgan Gray.
A familiar face. You talk Texas shortstop Caitlin Slack moving over as a graduate manager. Now for Kansas.
You know, I love talking with Coach McFalls about Slack because McFalls said, you know what, we let her know, hey, you let us know. She knew she wanted to coach. She knows that Slack wants to be a collegiate coach. And she said, when you decide what you want to do, because Slack had the option of coming back for that 5th year, right, that super senior year, but when she decided she was done, ready to move forward, Coach McFalls said, you're coming here, automatically you want that grad assistant position.
It's on the ground. Jefferson trying to get the runner over at second, trying to flip back to Parker. So Texas not getting an out in that sequence.
Third baseman, Ashley Anderson, number 22.
And that's just an unfortunate error right there. I feel like this is something Jefferson makes in her sleep and just not able to give a good pass over to Parker. Luckily for Texas, no one scores on that play.
It would have been a tough play to execute. The error will go to Jefferson. Omley on, bases loaded. Opportunity for Kansas to cut into that lead just to pay off Slack. Here as well was Reagan Hathaway. They were both honored prior to this game with a senior day ceremony, and being that they did not get such last year. Nice nod by the Texas program to get those two out there, presented them with their jerseys, rolled the highlights on the video board.
I love that. I love that they were able to get that and that Hathaway was able to make it in town this weekend, specifically when Slack was here.
Back up the middle, O'Leary Fields gets the force at home. So Texas prevents the run from scoring.
Tyler, there's been so many outs at home today in both of these games. This is the second time for Texas, and O'Leary showing her hops. It's a great job, and then to be able to give a good throw home to J.J. Smith. Unfortunately, Smith just not able to turn it. Great job by O'Leary, again, helping herself out.
Madison Hirsch now the batter at the plate.
I love the pressure that this Kansas offense continues to keep putting on Texas, though. This is something I think we all knew that they were capable of. They're going to continue to keep hitting, putting the ball in play, something Coach McFalls just said they wanted to do.
Popped up. Smith makes the catch.
J.J. Smith does a great job nosing this one in. It has a little bit of English, and she's able to find it. It's a good diving catch. Gloving it in for the third out.
Bottom of the third inning. Kansas had an opportunity in the top half after the leadoff single from Harper and the single from Omley, but some heads-up awareness out at home. Then the play by J.J. Smith gets them out of the inning. Texas, at least defensively, with a 0 on the scoreboard.
I think for Texas, too, getting a couple of these big plays at home just kind of starts building that defense confidence for them, right? Something that's been haunting them all season long is the costly error. So, again, nice to see them still, you know, continuing to push forward, and you always love to see a little PFP in the middle of the field there with Shea O'Leary, not only just getting the ball, but being heads up to get that lead runner at home.
Speaking of PFP, no chance on that one, just too fast and too low. Right back up the middle off the bat of Parker for Reed to handle.
Whitaker's coming back in, which means Williams, who came in to pinch run, will be out for the game. She'll be burned. Just the way that Whitaker swings, I'm not sure if I'm a fan or a photographer, I'd be sticking out past that fence a whole lot.
I've
She
always
pulls a
been
lot.
puzzled that netting is just about like 3 feet too short.
Yeah, that's also very interesting. But there's no, well, I'm gonna probably eat my words, never mind. I was gonna say there's no seats, and then I see down the left field line there is. Right field line, little gap for cameras, but yeah, take it all the way down.
Texas has been good leading off, 5 of 9.
I'm gonna say that hitter, that must have clipped her jersey there.
Yeah, Whitaker and Sullivan today, jeez.
Well, you know, and a lot of that has to do with you want to establish the inside part of the plate against these good teams. Unfortunately, what that means is you want to miss inside more than you want to miss over the heart of the plate. And with that comes the hit batters. Something tells me J.J. Smith must have been caught up in the dugout taking her gear off, still just not quite ready to hit. Catcher's life.
This was the play that ended the last inning. But that was going to be my question. I've always wanted to ask you this. What is the quickest you can get the gear on or gear off?
I mean, it's not that quick. And you see she's got some flair she needs to put on her body to hit with, too. So you're over there usually 3 buckles on each leg, and you can get it down to a science.
A lot of noise off the bat on that one. Looked close. I thought bounced on the line, but called foul. Parker was motoring.
You can see right there, and she's ready.
Ooh, good call.
Getting all her gear back on, swinging first pitch, no problem.
I mean, are we talking a minute?
I bet you under 30 seconds.
Under 30 seconds?
Getting it off is easier than getting it on, because it's usually just these snaps, right? 3 on each side, and you can do your hands at the same time. So pop, 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 and then you just one little buckle on your chest protector off, helmet. Your helmet's already off. But getting it on is tedious.
It's always interesting to watch the catchers in long innings sometimes as well, seeing, okay, well, do you put the gear on if you're coming up in the order?
Are you gonna keep your shin guards on and you're on deck? Yeah, you guys just really don't
We don't understand
what these catchers go through.
Wildly effective. It's a good look at Richards.
That's that gear, right? You get the 3 snaps on each side.
Ball 4.
Unfortunately for Kansas, just giving way too many opportunities to these Longhorns right now.
Yeah, 1 hit batter in the first inning, and then started off the second with 3 consecutive walks. Then Sullivan was hit by a pitch. In this inning, it's been Whitaker. It was hit by a pitch, and then Smith earning the free pass. We will have a pinch hitter. Looks like Taylor Ellsworth. First time seeing Ellsworth. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say, same thing. Haven't seen her in the lineup, and you know, she's still putting up gaudy numbers herself, hitting in the high 300s. And so when you think about it, you think of this Texas offense, and you still have batters to go to, experienced hitters like a Taylor Ellsworth, 375, 5 home runs on the season. And really no reason why we haven't seen her. I feel like the only reason is because Wednesday, Coach White wanted to see a Whitaker out in right field, right? And so when you see that and Whitaker gets the home run, he's gonna start her again. And he's always playing the hot hitters and the hot hands.
Let's see what Ellsworth can do with her first at-bat of this series. Bases loaded. She's hitting 600 on the year in such opportunities, 400 with runners in scoring position and 378 with runners on. Does not have a career grand slam.
Good job by Goff getting ahead of Ellsworth right from the get-go.
Oh, 2 behind Ellsworth.
I mean, you don't see that very often, especially not to hit the batter, and they're lucky that ball bounced straight back.
Popped up. Ellsworth was ducking her head. Parker on third. She singled to get on. Whitaker was hit by a pitch. Smith with the walk. Ellsworth, her first plate appearance of the series, bounces it off the netting.
And again, you're watching a Texas offense. Here you have an Ellsworth coming in as a pinch hitter and just fouling off anything close. Though she's not squaring them up, I just feel like, man, they are ready to hit and attack anything close, but then all of a sudden they'll pull out this laser vision.
This ball is in play to shallow center field. Nice job by Hornbuckle, ranging back to her right over the shoulder. Sun in her eyes to make the grab, but that does allow Parker to tag up and score. Played the 5th run of the game for Texas.
That's good heads-up base running by Parker. Gives her teammate a sac fly in the same breath. But I mean, this ball almost looking like it's going into no man's land. And the moment you see an infielder turn their back, absolutely as a base runner at third, you should be taking advantage of that. But man, that is an excellent play by Hornbuckle.
Seen Reed over these batters. Some of that command control. Batters ducking, jumping out of the way. Two O's up high. Jefferson adds another walk to the ledger for Texas.
The 7th free pass this Jayhawks pitching staff has allowed to Texas. And again, a team that is right on the edge there, Tyler. We've seen them come up big and make some really big wins, great pitching performances, just like on Wednesday against Wichita State, a ranked Wichita State. You just can't let a team like Texas have 7 extra opportunities, whether by hit by pitch or by walks.
Yep, 5 walks, 3 hit batters, excuse me. So now take it up to 8. And not the player, if you are Reed in Kansas, you want to see step into the box. Shannon Rhodes having a career year at the plate, on pace to break the single season home run record.
just 3 shy of Taylor Hoagland, 18 home runs.
Look alive down the
Okay.
third base line. Whitaker, wow.
Well, if she's not going yards, she's definitely hitting lasers down the third base side. Game 1, we saw one almost go right off of Anderson's foot, the third baseman, and then earlier this game, that hot shot double down the left field line. We're really not watching them work the outside half of the plate with Rhodes.
Rhodes on March 27th, a 3-home run game against UTSA.
There they go. That was impressive. And sometimes you just have nowhere to put the batters, right? And so you just continue to throw to them, and surely they're not going to hit another. Oh, wait.
What's the pitch here?
I'd stay away. I'd go change up, or I'd stay away. Throw a ball.
That up the third base line. Whitaker will come home to score. Waved in is Smith. So Rhodes plates 2 more for Texas. The lead now 7.
Just ahead of Shannon Rhodes, 1-2, and I know we're talking about the fact that you're not wanting to let these batters on, but that pitch way too good, you're ahead. No reason you need to be going up and in. And that one on the plate, and Shannon Rhodes makes him pay.
Looks like we will have a pitching change for Kansas, so another new arm coming into the circle. Texas already with 3 on the board, 2 runners on with 1 out here in the bottom of 3. Hannah Todd will be the arm in the circle, senior from Cartersville, Georgia. 11 innings on the season, 4.45 ERA.
For Hannah Todd, it's all about attacking that strike zone right now. Too many free passes to Texas. The 5 walks, the 3 hit by pitches. Keep the ball down in the zone. Rely on that defense. Try to induce some ground balls right now.
So Texas 4 runs in the second, 3 in the third. Opportunity for more. Colleen Sullivan at the plate.
For Sullivan, each of her at-bats have been against a different pitcher. Haley Reed, inning 1, inning 2. She started off Goff, and now she gets Todd.
Was hit by a pitch in both at-bats. Stick around with us here on Longhorn Network. Get you all ready for the national championship volleyball match. Texas, the overall 4 seed, number 2 Kentucky, 7 Central. That'll be on ESPN2, but Texas Game Day. We'll get you all prepped and ready what to watch for. As Sullivan safe over at first. Jefferson with the heads-up play to get around and scores to make it 8-0.
What should have gotten them at least out of the inning here. It looks like a perfect double play. Unfortunately, first baseman Morgan Wing can't pick up that ball, but Janae Jefferson all over it. She sees the moment that ball's bobbled, she's on her way home.
For the Horns, now batting for Mariah Coco, number 25, Caitlin Washington.
Caitlin Washington will come in to hit. From Humboldt, Texas. Baseball already with a victory today, 4-3 over Oklahoma State. If you watched earlier the orange and white spring game, so a lot going on here for the University of Texas athletics program.
I think that's what's most exciting about April, is that you get all the different sports happening, especially the weather starts feeling better. I feel like it's finally a consistent spring moving into summer. There's a lot of extra sports happening. I mean, you've been calling a ton of tennis. I know that's...
This one put into the ground by Washington, but unable to collect the ball to make the play. Wynn trying to do such over at first, so Texas runners will be safe on the corners.
This is just uncharacteristic right now. This is Morgan Wynn, a leader over at first, trying to finish the play without having the ball. And then, on top of that, not paying attention to Colleen Sullivan taking third.
To your point, Megan, never before have we seen a volleyball national championship contested here in the spring. But yes, men's and women's tennis, both in the heart of their Big 12 schedules, playing great across the way. Swimming and diving having a phenomenal season as well. So a lot of action. Plenty to watch. Stay with us all night through Texas Game Day to get you ready for the national championship match. Game Day slated to start at 6 o'clock, and that match 7 o'clock over on ESPN2. Colleagues Paul Sunderland, Salima Rockwell will be on the call. Holly Rowe on the sidelines. Got our old pal James Davidson producing.
Nice.
That should be a good one. Kentucky AVCA Player of the Year. Their setter, Madison Lilly. A couple really good attackers, but Texas a very deep, good team.
Can always rely on you, Tyler, to keep me up to date with all sports. All Texas sports. Well, all sports. You got to call some of the championship series, right?
Did get to call some of the NCAA tournament. Saw Kentucky, Wisconsin. Texas continuing to put the pressure on. It is all gas, no brakes here at Red and Charlene McCombs Field for this Texas offense, now up 10-0.
That's got to feel good for Lauren Burke. I know she's really been working, trying to find a little bit more consistency. This ball up and out of the zone. She stays on it. She's got the runners on. A couple times she's fallen just short of getting those RBIs, and they've been hot shots to left field. So this time it finally falls. She's able to get even more insurance runs, because right now Texas definitely in that run rule situation.
17th time on the season Texas has batted around the full order, but second time they've done it in this ball game is Burke with the 2 RBI double. She will stand on second for Parker, who started this inning off with a single. Can't leave out Brad Sheldon either. He'll be directing tonight's volleyball championship match.
He must have been watching and let you know. Did he just text you that?
No, just wanted to make sure he didn't feel left out. Just outside.
For Texas right now, putting up the 10 runs, no home runs. This is something that they've definitely been continuously trying to work on since that OU series. How are they putting more runs across, manufacturing runs?
That'll ring her up. So Kansas gets out of the inning, but Texas does the damage with 6 runs. They lead by 10 as we hit the 4th inning on the other side of the break. Big Saturday in Texas athletics. Logan Eggleston and the Texas Longhorns, volleyball-wise, looking for their 3rd national title in program history, last coming in 2012. Casey Thompson, 25 of 43, 253. Hudson Card getting some action at the QB spot as well in the orange and white scrimmage. And then number 3 baseball, Ty Madden, 12 strikeouts in Texas's 15th straight win.
All gas, no brakes.
Tyler Denning, Megan Willis taking you through game number 2, this doubleheader in a Big 12 conference set for the Texas Longhorns. 33-6 on the season, 7-3 in Big 12 play. Ranked number 12 in the country, hosting a Kansas team, 22-18, 2-8 in Big 12 play. Led by a familiar face in Jennifer McFalls, making the return. 3rd season as the head coach for Kansas. Longhorns victorious in the first game of the day, 8-1. 2 runs in the 2nd, 3 in the 3rd, 2 in the 4th, 1 in the 6th. The win went to Riley White in the circle, pitching 4 2/3. Shea O'Leary getting the start for Texas. See that ball clipping the elbow of the batter, Hornbuckle. I mentioned Texas game day here on LHN. After us, that'll get you ready for 7 o'clock at the CHI Health Center in Omaha, Nebraska. That on ESPN2. 4-seed Texas against the 2nd seed in the tournament, Kentucky. Both of those teams playing through a fall and spring regular season. Kentucky just 1 loss on their season to conference foe Florida. Texas with a lone loss to Rice prior to beginning tournament play. National championship at stake. Texas in their 7th championship game.
So a little bit of defensive changes here after last inning when Ellsworth came in to hit for Bree Cantu. They're going to go ahead and leave her behind the dish. JJ Smith now moves to 3rd. So keeping track out there. This is now the 5th 3rd baseman we've seen this year over at 3rd at Texas.
This ball laced out into right. Hornbuckle on Treviso as well to start off the 4th inning for Kansas.
This is exactly what you want to see if you're Kansas. This last inning was a tough inning, but this offense again coming to play. This ball down in the zone, and I love the fact that Treviso able to get it and drive it. And see Caitlin Washington out in right field gets a good throw in to cut off that runner, keeping her at 1st.
Pinch hitter Lyric Moore. And another hit batter, first pitch.
I feel like this is pretty odd for Shea O'Leary with the hit batters right now. That's the 2nd one, obviously, of this inning. With a 10-0 lead, really needs to buckle down. Go right at these hitters. No reason you need to be spreading the plate out at this point.
Bottom of the lineup, 2, 6, 7, 8. pinch hitter, Sophia Buzzard. Started as the DP in game number 1, was 0 for 3. Kansas struggled in that game with runners in scoring position, runners on. One for 5 in this game. With runners in scoring position, 3 for 8. With runners on base, is this into foul territory? No play for Burke.
Yeah, for the Jayhawks, they just need to keep battling right now. You've got the bases loaded, no outs. Keep putting that pressure on. Just scratch away a couple at a time, right? At this point, they're just playing to get 3. Keep them out of that run roll territory.
1-2 pitch.
And that run rolls 8 after 5. You got a couple innings to work with here, right? You know, you just go after, and this would be the time. You've got to come out of this inning with bases loaded, no outs. You've got to come out of here with at least 1 or 2 runs right now, Tyler, if you're Kansas.
Mentioned for Kansas, 3 top 25 wins on the season. Oklahoma State, Missouri, and Wichita State. Buzzard, second strikeout of the day for O'Leary. That batter looking 1 down.
This is on that deadly changeup. She has such command of this pitch, and the way it comes out of the back of her hand just kind of pulls a string on it. It's a beautiful looking change by O'Leary.
Top of the order, Brittany Jackson. Fans at the first offering.
Absolutely who you want up if you're Kansas. Already with the single on the day. Even her last AB was a hot shot to shortstop. It's an out, but definitely seeing O'Leary pretty well today. Which is why you saw first pitch change.
This one in play, the forces at home. That's where Texas will get the out. Sullivan to Ellsworth, 2 down.
That's back-to-back change. I like that pitch call right there. Nice job by Sullivan. I think that's a good hold by Ellsworth as well. No chance with the speedy Jackson.
So bases remain loaded.
Another change.
Seven straight strikes thrown by Shea O'Leary. Make it 8. Time called. Treviso remains over at third after her single. It was the pinch hitter Lyric Moore that was hit with the first pitch of her at bat at second. And Jackson, we saw on the fielder's choice, but to your point, Megan, this would be a win for Texas. Getting out of this inning, having not allowed a run. Kansas, though, trying to cut into that lead. That pitch well over the head of the batter. Ellsworth able to collect off the rebound.
I think that was a changeup, too.
That was the all gas. Brakes, change up. A lot of heat on that one. 2-2. This is in play. Smith will bare hand to make the throw, and Texas does indeed get out of the jam. No runs allowed. They lead by 10.
One quarterback can reshape the narrative. One quarterback class can reshape the league. NFL Draft begins Thursday on ESPN and ABC.
Justin Fields, one of those names to watch for in the NFL Draft that starts Thursday, 8 o'clock Eastern coverage on the ESPN family of networks. But Jaden Fields, Justin's sister at Georgia for softball, making some history as they snap the win streak for Oklahoma. Sooners had won 40 straight, but Georgia 22nd in the country, a 7-6 victory.
Fields also went yard earlier in that game, so I'd say athleticism definitely runs in that family's bloodline, huh?
Would think so, just a little bit.
It was like, hello?
It'll be interesting to see how that NFL draft breaks down, the quarterback position. I think everybody knows for sure number 1 and Trevor Lawrence going to Jacksonville, but then from there, how does it break down?
That hair flip had
You're
me.
a Denver Broncos fan, right?
I am, yeah.
Denver Broncos, one of those teams potentially in need of a quarterback. So check it out Thursday, 8 o'clock.
It's hard not to be a Tampa Bay fan after last year.
Ah, so you just team hop, huh?
Not normally. But that was fun to watch, that's for sure.
2-1 the count. Jordan Whitaker, the batter for Texas. Longhorns 4 runs in the second, 6 in the third. Looking to build on that lead. Speaking of Jacksonville, Jordan Whitaker from Jacksonville, Texas. How's your Texas geography, Megan?
Not good. I was thinking, where the heck is that? And I didn't want to ask you, but you brought it up. Where's Jacksonville, Texas?
Cherokee County, Texas, population of 14,544.
Okay, but where?
Just south of Tyler.
Okay. I know Austin, and I know the greater Austin, and I know Central Austin. I'm really good at New Braunfels to San Antonio.
I bet you are.
Yeah, my new found interest in real estate. Little side hustle.
Looks like we'll have a change here. Pitch runner coming in.
First base, number 22, M.K. Tedder.
M.K. Tedder coming in to run for Whitaker. Seen some really good patience at the plate for the Texas batters today. Go back to that 14 pitch at bat that Whitaker had. But Texas getting back to their hitting, scoring ways. That was a big story, I think, that we were looking at coming off the Oklahoma series and then the midweek matchup against Texas State. Could the Longhorns get back to that offensive scoring prowess that they've shown? Will be the identity for this team this season?
Well, you'd certainly hope so, right, Tyler? You don't want any series to define you. This is still, at that point for Texas, halfway through Big 12. A lot of things can happen from here till the end of Big 12. Then you go into postseason. Right now, Texas seemingly will be in the postseason. Obviously still with their rank, the top 10, top 15, depending which one you're looking at. And I think the sooner, no pun intended, that you can get over that weekend, you know, then you keep it in, you hold on to what you learned from, right? And I think for pitchers, that was location, 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 and then you move on. And you remember what you've done. Again, this is a team number 3 in the nation as hitters, right? And batting average coming in. So there's still a team to be reckoned with, and I think you're watching them get back onto that track here.
Yeah, you have 6 losses on the season, 33 wins, 3 of those 6 losses coming at the hands of Oklahoma, which especially when you have to go into their place, no shame in that. Such a good offensive team, but I think Coach White had stressed learning from that for his team, and what do they take from it. We'll wrap this series up tomorrow, high noon Central. Live here on Longhorn Network. Stream it on the ESPN app as well. So there you go, Megan, the official bird of Austin, Texas, the crane, right?
I was like, what are you talking about? But yeah. I mean, at any given moment, there's got to be 20+ cranes, no matter which direction you look.
So fast, the growth and development of this city. It's a beautiful day here in Central Texas. Taylor Ellsworth's second at bat was a sac fly. Shallow right, her first time up in this series. Texas, after this series, next weekend will welcome in Oklahoma State. It's unique as well, no midweek matchup. So today and then the game tomorrow, the opportunities for Texas to put some polish on the things that they need to work on prior to playing Oklahoma State. Team currently with just 1 loss in conference play to this Kansas Jayhawks team. Megan, break down Oklahoma State a little bit for me. What makes them so good?
You're going to take a look at the pitchers in the circle for them, specifically Carrie Everly, who's really been shouldering a lot of the work there. So I think you're going to get a much closer matchup next weekend, more of a pitcher's duel, if you will, and it's going to come down to, because they've got a couple shoulders to rely on, which offense can break through first. But I like that. I mean, you got to remember Oklahoma State still has OU to play after they play Texas. So that's going to be a really good matchup again in that in-state rivalry. Usually always a good one, paying attention to.
Fouled off by Jefferson. Yeah, in our conversations with Texas head coach Mike White, he talks always about the building blocks for the season, where you go from non-conference wise then into conference play. Always that goal though, once postseason comes around, to try to be here at home. Can you be here for the regional round? Can you be here for the super regional round? So Texas still plenty of opportunities to make the case for such. They lead by 10 as we go to the 5th. Kansas needing runs.
Longhorn Network Softball is brought to you by American Campus Communities, where students love living.
Beautiful day out here at Red and Charlene McCombs Field. Texas fans trying to take in a second win in game number 2 of the doubleheader. We're slated to play Friday, Saturday, Sunday, but inclement weather yesterday moved game number 1 to today. Longhorns already with 1 win, 8-1. Trying to back end it with what could be a run rule victory here if Kansas doesn't score at least 3 runs. Morgan Wynn. doubled in the first inning, fielder's choice in the third. Kansas does have 5 hits. Texas has 6, but Kansas with 3 errors. And it's really the free passes that have been the difference. Texas, I believe, 8, 5 via walk, 3 via hit batter.
9. They got that 6th one.
Yep, MK Tedder. So yeah, you add the 9 to the 6 hits, and that's why you can look at a number as big as what Texas has on the board in terms of 10. Two teams will close things out tomorrow, noon Central here on Longhorn Network. Join us. May be able to talk about a Texas Volleyball National Championship. That's where I think all eyes for Texas fans will go this evening, 7 o'clock Central on ESPN2. Longhorns Wildcats, Big 12, SEC. 4 seed against the 2 seed. For some hardware. Texas looking for their 3rd national championship. Program history, 7th title game. Won the title back in 2012, defeating Oregon. A tough one tonight, though. Should be exciting. Texas game day will get you ready for the action. Megan was talking big picture for this Texas softball team. Currently 16th in RPI. Oklahoma 7th, Oklahoma State 9th. So those 3 games against Oklahoma State will be key. Adding to that RPI, we'll mention Texas game day coming up next. 6 o'clock, top of the hour. Get you all prepped up for Kentucky, Texas, 7 o'clock on ESPN2. Long-running season going back to the fall, but to finally crown a national champ.
Did you get to call any of Kentucky's games? Now I want to know what you think. How
I
this
did.
match? Okay.
Kentucky is very, very good. They have
Okay, well, obviously, both these teams are very, very
National
good.
Player of the Year in their
Okay.
setter, Madison Lilly. Some very good attackers in the Skinner sisters. But Texas has a...
And these 2 teams have not faced each other this year, right?
They have not. Texas has a variety of options on their attack. Probably their best back line passing team, and defensively as good as they've been over the course of Jarrett Elliott's tenure. And seen one of those pump-up videos that they put out on their Instagram as the runner goes for second. Coach Elliott saying the best chemistry for a group he's ever been around. You know how important that is.
Yeah.
It's not always talent that gets it done.
This is a good pickup by Ellsworth, but I like the fact that base runner is able to jump on in there and take advantage of the ball in the dirt right away.
It's the 12th time in a contest Texas has scored 10 or more runs. Throwing down to second.
Someone's got to tell O'Leary to run the other way. As a catcher picking off, you're throwing to the front side of that bag. O'Leary almost ran herself right into the throw. It's a pitcher you want to duck towards first.
Yeah, we don't want to see that.
No. And here right now, you'd like to see O'Leary come in and shut the door, right? It's the 5th inning. We're right at your batters. You're up 10 runs. No need to be walking the first 2 batters.
We've seen O'Leary in more of a closing role 6 appearances out of the bullpen, 3 saves, a 1.05 ERA. This obviously not said situation with a 10-run lead and having gotten this start, but at least mentally no stranger to coming in and doing as you just said, trying to shut the door.
Yeah. I like her as a closer, quite frankly. I like her coming in after Molly Jacobson, since you got a Jacobson a little bit more spinny coming from the left side and a power pitcher. But in this case right now, I mean, yeah, be careful with Morgan Wynn. She's got the 15 home runs, a great hitter. But you give up a solo shot, you're fine. Definitely just no need to be so careful that you're walking batters.
And that was after the last inning where we saw she was on a roll of nearly 10 consecutive strikes thrown.
So it was a good timeout there by Ellsworth, just probably going out and reminding her pretty much the same thing. Maybe telling a joke. Sometimes that's all you need to do, go relax your pitcher a little bit.
Okay, so give me your best Megan Willis to Kat Osterman. Could you tell jokes to Kat?
Oh man, it depended on the situation, Tyler. I mean, there is no more serious pitcher out there that I've ever met. So you know, you pick your poison, but after a while you got to know when it was appropriate or not. But most of the time it was more just walking out there, you know, and playing into her confidence, and that's exactly what you should be doing to O'Leary. Hey, you're throwing gas right now, throw 70, just throw it right down the middle of the plate, dare them to hit it. You know, kind of feed into that.
Be a hype woman.
Yeah, for sure.
Count 3-1. O'Leary to Madison Hirsch.
Wow.
That is a tough pitch to let go by, but a nice job, good eye from Hirsch. So another bases loaded opportunity for Kansas. Texas has been able to get out of these.
And this is all about reminding, hey, get it over the plate, use your defense. Let them hit themselves into outs.
Kansas has had the bases loaded the last 2 innings. Chance to turn 2, there's one at second. The second over at first. 1 run does score. Hirsch held up at third, but 2 down.
And that's what I'm talking about, use your defense.
Right fielder, Taryn
Gets the perfect 6-4-3 double play here. Sullivan saving it right there. Jefferson, ball a little bit in the dirt there. But nice job by Sullivan at first to not only keep the ball in front of her, to scoop it up.
So Jayhawks down to their final out. They cannot get 2 more runs. This may do it. Coming in from center field, Rhodes, that ball held up. She had to hit the grass, so a little bit of flare. But Texas gets the victory 2 on the day in this doubleheader. Longhorns notched their 8th Big 12 conference win. Check this out.
Yeah, this is some serious coverage, and I think why you see Parker give up is Rhodes calls it, but I mean, she nearly lands where Parker started.
I got a 10 on the slide there, too.
Easy. Yeah,
Perfect
we give her a 10.
execution, yes.
Texas, a nice job. This is their 14th run rule victory of the season. Offense exploding and taking advantage of all 9 of those free passes in this game.
14th run rule victory on the season, so a very good day for Texas. We will take a quick break, come back here to McCombs Field to wrap it up. Longhorns win 10-1.